Hey y'all, I'm John Hartness, and I'm your host for this, our first episode of Literate Liquors. Sorry, cat. I get distracted. It happens. Anyway, this is the video show where we pair the best in fantasy literature with the finest in alcohol. Two of my biggest loves. So we're going to start off kind of with a softball. I'm going to start with a book I like, the sequel to a book I like, by a writer I like, with booze I like. Because it's my show and I don't have to do shit I don't like. So, pardon me while I acquire my visual aids. Our first book for the show is going to be by Anthony Francis, published by Bellbridge Books, and the book is called Frost Moon. This is the first in the Dakota Frost novels. Now, Dakota Frost is a tattoo artist from Atlanta, Georgia. Not that that's particularly out of the ordinary, but her tattoos are done with magic. So they have a little more potency and probably a little more pain than your average tattoo. So this book has several things about it that I really like. One, chicks. Two, tattoos. I'm a fan. I have a few of my own. This one's my most recent piece. It was done by Foo's Tattoos in Charlotte. I've also got one on the back of my leg, but I'm not going to show you that one because it would involve standing. And then you'd realize that writers don't always wear pants when we're working. I am, for the record, wearing pants. See? Pants. But anyway, so it's a book about chicks and tattoos in Atlanta. And I spent the last 3 years before I left my day job commuting from Charlotte to Atlanta. So I really was able to tie in with the locations that Francis used in these books. Anthony and I share a publisher, and my editor is really accurate when she talks about how Anthony in his books really layers the flavors of Atlanta, and especially the Little 5 Points areas, into his books. You can almost smell the hot dogs at the Vortex as you're reading Frost Moon and the sequel Blood Rock. So I really enjoyed Frost Moon. It took me a little while to get into it, but once I got my head wrapped around the magical rules for the world, I was all over it. I really enjoy the character Dakota Frost. She's not only a strong female character, which is something you see a lot of in urban fantasy, but she's also got a lot of vulnerability. And it's not the typical angsty, abused woman vulnerability that you see a lot of in the genre. She's really questioning her place in her society, her place in the magical community of Atlanta. She's questioning her own image of herself over the course of the book. It's really got a lot of levels to it, and I enjoyed it. It's a fast read, got some nice plot twists, and a good southern flavor. So what kind of booze do I suggest goes well with Frost Moon and Blood Rock, the sequel? Well, you don't get much more southern in flavor than sweet tea. So I'm going to go with Firefly Sweet Tea Vodka. No, I'm not a paid endorsee of any of these liquors. I'm just a drunk. But Firefly really does taste a lot. It tastes dangerously like your mama's sweet tea, if you're southern. Now, I understand that there are some places in the U.S. and around the world where y'all don't have sweet tea, and I'm sorry for that. So you might not understand the concept of sitting on a porch with a thunderstorm rolling in the afternoons sipping sweet tea, watching the rain, and smelling the world like it's a whole brand new place to live. Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. Your life is a little bit duller by comparison. But it's okay. McDonald's has pretty decent sweet tea most places, and you can always come to the South. I suggest Labor Day weekend. Come to Dragon Con. I'll be in one of the booths in the exhibit room. You can come say hello. But anyway, Firefly Sweet Tea Vodka goes really well with Anthony Francis's Dakota Frost books, or really any Southern themed literature. And if you want to get real adventurous, mix in some Country Time lemonade. If you go to a restaurant and you order half sweet tea and half lemonade, they call that an Arnold Palmer. Well, if you're going to do alcoholic sweet tea with lemonade, you call that a John Daly. And if you don't get that joke, try Wikipedia. It'll explain it all to you. So, that's all I've got for today. Grab yourself a copy of Frost Moon by Anthony Francis. It's available for your Kindle, for your Nook, for your iPad, or if you actually read real books, it's available for those too. And fix yourself a nice big tall glass of Firefly Sweet Tea Vodka with or without lemonade. Thank you all for joining me on Literate Liquors. I'm John Hartness, and as always, drink responsibly, but read recklessly.